that, because it is. 8,000 apprehensions per day is way too many for us to be able to handle. That's why you're seeing the El Paso Processing Center completely and totally inundated with people, more than what we can actually process through in a timely manner. So it's already broken, but it's about to get so much worse, and it's going to be the mayors in these cities that are going to feel the brunt of this. It's going to be states like Texas and Arizona that are going to feel all of the pressure that's coming in. And to have an administration that knew that Title 42 was on its last leg and not to do anything about it, that is absolutely bad governance, and people should hold this administration accountable. But until we do that, they're going to continue the status quo. We've seen that time and time again. They do not care about border security, and that's why they do exactly what they're doing.
So the other thing he said, Brandon, as of this Wednesday, 48 hours from now, in only El Paso now, our numbers will go from 2,500 to 4,000, 5,000, and even 6,000. That's coming our way. Dana?
Well, I do want to ask you about the state of the Border Patrol employees and their state of mind. I read that you had said that they feel defeated, overwhelmed, demoralized, and you did also say they're going to continue to do their jobs. But just maybe tell us a little bit more about what you're hearing from Border Patrol agents.
We are defeated. Every single time that we go out there and put on a uniform to patrol the border, we just don't feel like we have the support of this administration. When we're doing a job that we were never supposed to do in the first place, we are not asylum officers. We were not supposed to be dealing with asylum. We're not supposed to be processing people for that claim. We're supposed to be an enforcement agency. We're supposed to be apprehending those people that are trying to get away. We're supposed to be apprehending the bad actors. We're supposed to be seizing the drugs that are crossing the border illegally. And we just aren't able to do that. So every single time that we see a death in the United States because of fentanyl or any other opioid that comes across our southwest border, we feel it. We know that we just weren't able to do what we were supposed to do. And when you don't feel like you're accomplishing your job, you just don't go home with that sense of fulfillment. And that's the way it is today.
Did you know that the Border Patrol agents that are taking their lives? Now, and I've been down to the border multiple times, and I will never forget. One time I was down there and I was talking to this Border Patrol agent, and he wouldn't talk on camera, of course, because, the tyrannical federal government. And he was telling me off camera that the Biden administration has tied their hands. And this was more than 6 months ago. This was maybe close to a year ago. Have tied their hands, will not allow them to do their jobs. And they said that this was almost about a year ago. And he was saying that because the Biden administration has tied their hands, it's making their jobs unbearable. And then now you have Border Patrol agents have been taking their lives because of the situation that's going on. The number of people in El Paso right now, they said people are all on the streets. And the temperature is about to be like 13 and 17 degrees. 13 and 17 degrees. That's below freezing. And they're on the street. So because think about it. If you are on the street, or if I'm on the street, I'm going to be honest here. If I'm on the street and I have no shelter, nowhere to go, but I can start a fire, I'm going to start a fire because I need to stay warm. That's going to happen. I'm going to seek somewhere secluded, somewhere where I can try to start a fire. Even if I have to start it right there in the middle of the street, I'm going to start it, especially if I have little ones with me. You would do the same thing. So all of these people that are coming, and the Biden administration is pushing them onto the streets of America. We already have a homeless problem in the country, and they're pushing them more into the country. Just pushing them in there. This is not good for our economy. This is not good for our nation. And they try to act like this is all happening because of President Trump. I'm telling you, Karine Jean-Pierre said it multiple times. They call this a broken immigration system. It wasn't broken when President Trump was in office, but they're saying it's a broken immigration system that they inherited from President Trump. Even though President Trump pretty much had it all under control. They said President Trump was the only president that actually ever had it under control the way he did. And they completely demolished it. Did you know when President Trump was in office, and I learned this today, did you know President Trump and Congress passed it to where they had funding to complete the wall. If I'm not mistaken, it was $1.8 billion that was passed so they can complete the wall. What did Joe Biden do with it? Nothing. It's still sitting there. Biden stopped the production on the wall. And you know the reason why they stopped it? Because they want what's happening right now. I'm like, the money's there. They can complete it, but they're not going to. Again, you can't have a one world order with borders. You can't do it. In other news, we still have the free speech issue. Listen to this nut job, Ted Lieu, as he tried to spin the whole idea that conservatives are being censored. Now, let me ask y'all a question before I get into this. And some of y'all may have seen this. I don't know. But let me ask you a question. If I come and tell you that conservatives are not being censored, what would you say that? Let me repeat it. What if I tell you that conservatives are not being censored? What would you say to me? What would you say to me? Well, shut up. You know good and well that they're being censored. You would say this to me. Well, especially because after I don't said it. But let's just say I never said it before and I said it. You would say that I'm either being willfully ignorant or I'm just like completely stupid to the facts of what's been happening, what's been going on. Listen to this nut job, Ted Lieu. Listen to what he says. And this dude, he's so disconnected from reality. And he makes this, he's getting ready, he's going to do a parody. Listen to what he says here, because everything he says is like a parody. Listen.
The top three elected officials: number one, Donald Trump; number two, Vice President Pence; number three, Speaker Ryan. The notion that social media is somehow censoring conservative folks is ridiculous. And
you hear this? Did y'all hear him? Right off the bat here. I'm sorry. I know some people don't like me taking it back, but you may have missed it. Listen.
The notion that social media is somehow censoring conservative folks is ridiculous.
He said it's ridiculous. The notion that social media companies are censoring conservatives is ridiculous. Like it's not even happening. Right? Like it's not even happening. This is what you call someone who's feeling good, have no issues lying in the skin. He knows good and well what's happening. They don't have any issues with it happening. It's not happening until it happens to communist leftists. Then it's happening. But as long as it's happening to us, it's not happening. It's just a figment of our imagination. They're doing it to us, but it's really not happening. We're just supposed to believe it's something else. Listen.
And 3 witnesses today have testified that that's not happening. And we don't do laws by anecdote. At least I hope I don't. And we shouldn't. But there's a more fundamental problem. The First Amendment applies to the government. Can we just get that clear? It does not apply to restrict content of private companies.
Well, the problem here, and he's not going to mention it, is that you have the federal government, the FBI, going to the big tech companies to censor the American people. So them using that lame excuse, you can't use it anymore. Because the federal government has been caught red-handed, censoring the American people. And they use the big tech companies as a proxy. That's all this is. I've said it multiple times. And he's just literally lying. And this dude is not for the people. It shouldn't matter. It should not matter what side of the aisle you are on. It should not matter. When you're a representative of Congress, when you see that the people's voices are being hindered, you're supposed to step up and tell them to stop. See, social media is now the virtual public square. It is. It's the virtual public square, and they know this. That's where he goes on there to get his message out. That's where everybody goes on there to get their message out. It is the virtual public square. And he also leaves out Section 230. He leaves Section 230 out. He doesn't even talk about it, doesn't even bring it up.
So let's just go through something very simple. And I'll ask you, Mrs. Oka. We don't tell Fox News what to filter.
But they'll tell CNN, they'll tell MSDNC, they'll tell ABC, CBS, NBC. They'll tell all of them. They'll tell all of them what to filter, just like the FBI went to the big tech companies telling them what to filter. It's the same thing. But he says they didn't tell Fox News. Really? Democrats saying that they don't tell Fox News. Maybe because Fox News won't go along with it. Or if you did go to Fox News telling them what to filter, they're going to tell everybody, hey, the federal government just came to us and told us to filter XYZ. Maybe about Russia. Maybe about Hunter Biden's laptop, right? But when they go to the tech companies and they tell the tech companies to filter something, they just do it without question. The tech company should have said, you know what? You're the federal government. You're not supposed to come to us and tell us what the people can and cannot talk about. And also, we're the tech company under Section 230, meaning that we're not publishers. People can publish stuff. But see, the big tech companies, they find these fake fact checkers as their proxy to violate Section 230. And the government has big tech to violate the First Amendment via the proxy. You get it now?
Right?
Correct.
And we can't tell Facebook what content to filter. The government can't, right?
Correct.
That would just be flat out unconstitutional, right?
Yes, sir.
We can't force Facebook to carry Diamond and Silk if they choose not to. Isn't that right?
Correct.
But didn't the federal government go to the big tech companies and tell them not to talk about the Hunter Biden laptop? He just said it's unconstitutional. Did y'all hear him? I'm not going to play it again, but did y'all hear him? He just said that we would not force them. They didn't have to force them. They were happy to do it. But they went to the tech companies and had them censor information. This is huge. This is absolutely huge.
You know, I've seen places that regulate content on the internet and in the media. North Korea, Russia, Iran. We don't want to be like that.
You notice he didn't even mention China.
China.
You notice that?
China.
I've been saying this, talking about this all day.
China.
He didn't mention China at all.
China.
Because they're all about what China's doing.
China.
It's almost like China owns them.
China.
Because he didn't say nothing about China. You notice that? Did y'all catch that?
Why are we having a hearing about regulating content? It's unconstitutional to begin with.
Then why'd they regulate it? Then why in the world did they regulate it when they were coming with a factual story of Hunter Biden?
Russia.
Why did they regulate it? That's exactly what they did. The federal government went to the tech companies to regulate it. Now, let me play this one for you because I'm sick of that dude. Listen to Jesse Waters, because Jesse Waters, he breaks it down even more so with the FBI, and this is like a bombshell if you ask me. And you know that they're coming with this factual information, and you know they are. The FBI and the intelligence community, they have their tentacles all in social media, and they are the strong arm of the Democrat Party. They're doing the bidding of the Democrat Party. They're suppressing information. They're hiding information. They're doing everything they can to hurt the American people. Listen to Jesse Waters as he talks about the number of FBI agents involved with social media. You can't make this stuff up.
He was frankly perplexed by the FBI's request. Didn't matter. Twitter was swarming with feds. They had 80 FBI agents in and out of their offices, plus 15 former FBI agents working for them. Like their top lawyer, James Baker, a former FBI lawyer who had his hands all over the Russia-Collusion hoax, and now tried to whitewash any of these documents for coming out. He got caught and got canned, but basically the FBI owned Twitter. And the agent who was making all these demands, his name was Elvis Chan, and he bragged about it.
Describe how the FBI has really marshaled forces since 2016 in preparation for where we are now.
So there are a lot of different things we're doing, but I'll limit it to a couple of things.
Okay, let me stop it real quick, because what he's about to say is exactly what we've all been seeing. And now we know that the FBI was working with the tech companies to do everything we've all been suspecting. And they're still doing it today. They're still doing it today, even though all this information is coming out about how corrupt the FBI is, working hand in hand with the tech companies. They're still doing it. They're untouchable. There's nothing we can do about it. And that's what they're saying. There's nothing you can do about it. We don't care unless you get another multi-billionaire, but it's going to take a multi-trillionaire to come buy the other tech companies to stop us from doing it. There's nothing you can do about it. And that's their attitude. Even if Congress gets involved, I think the tech companies like, we don't care. We have the FBI and the Democrat Party on our side. We can care less what you do. We can care less, according to them.
So I think one of the things that was really important to us that we didn't have ahead of 2016 was established channels of communication with private sector companies, specifically social media companies. So we've done a much better job since 2016 of really establishing channels of communication, being able to share threat indicators with them so that they can protect their platforms. That's really one of the good things that we've done.
Okay, let me stop it. Before Jesse Water come back on here. This dude, he just sit there and said it. And let me remind y'all that Joe Biden labeled all Republicans, MAGA Republicans, as a threat to the entire country. This is the same mindset that they're talking about. They're talking about law-abiding citizens. Law-abiding citizens are a big threat in the United States of America. Those of you that want to adhere to the U.S. Constitution, you are a threat. Those of you that believe America should remain free, you are a threat. Those of you that think a man is a man and a woman is a woman, you are a threat. Those of you that believe in God, Almighty Jesus, you are a threat. And that's what they're referring to, because there's no videos of conservatives going around tearing up stuff and destroying stuff and attacking people. Where's the videos at? Where they at? They say it all the time. They just say we're a threat, but they don't ever show anything. They just say it. And you're just supposed to go along with it. I'm so sick of it. This dude, along with other criminal FBI agents, have done this. Let me ask you, is the FBI now a criminal organization? I mean, I think that's a valid question we should be able to ask. Is it a criminal organization? Based on the information we're seeing, you would have to say so.
The feds bullied these nerds into hijacking the election, and then they bragged about it. And the feds were everywhere. They're swarming around Facebook. You ready? At least 115 people, former Intel agents, work at Facebook. 115 Intel guys. The lead on Facebook's misinformation team, Aaron Berman, was a CIA spook for 17 years. Their goal was the same, just kick Trump out of Washington and get Biden in.
And he mentioned the CIA. Did y'all see the bombshell that Tucker just released with the CIA, what they did to Kennedy? It's all coming out. It's all coming out. The CIA did it to Kennedy. And it's like there's nothing you can do about it. You can't stop us. They still have that same mentality today. They can commit whatever crime that they want, and they have it in their mind that there's nothing you can do to stop us.
And they got their way. The biggest October surprise in U.S. history was covered up. And now we have a compromised president in the White House, and the feds are still there. Let's turn it over to Ben Weingarten. He's a senior contributor at The Federalist. So this is deeper than we even imagined.
Yeah, absolutely right. And I think, you opened tonight by talking about the street crime that people were able to commit with total impunity. And then look at thought crimes. Thought crimes, you have the FBI, CISA, and every single other agency under the sun working hand in glove with big tech. And of course, stenographers in the media further ginning up this concern over mis, dis, and malinformation to eviscerate the First Amendment. It's a conspiracy to eviscerate the First Amendment to consolidate power. And when Yoel Roth talks about what happened in 2016, what happened in 2016 was that Donald Trump won, and they could never allow a catastrophe like that to happen.
So this was the insurance policy playing out. It wasn't just Peter Strzok and Mueller. They got the feds to go from D.C. to Silicon Valley and just tamp down any chance Trump ever had at re-election.
It's absolutely right. And, Molly Ball wrote that infamous piece in Time, that expose, where they admitted what they did. A cabal, well-funded, powerful cabal to fortify the election, including through, almost a direct quote here, controlling the flow of information. That's exactly what we saw here with the FBI and other agencies going directly to Twitter and Facebook, by the way, and Reddit and Wikipedia and others, telling them you have to censor this content. They did it through cutouts as well. And consequently, you had election interference on a mass.
I mean, come on. This is to go so deep and so much information here. You know, the left, they don't like it. And they're trying to say this is not even true. It's not 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 true. We know that is true. They have done this to our country. They have done this hands over, hand over foot, hand over hat, hand, whatever. They've done it. And it's sickening. And it's like, again, they're like, we don't care. There's nothing you can do about it. The CIA, we killed Kennedy. There's nothing you can do about it. Ha, 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 because everyone that was involved is apparently dead now. But the CIA has been knowing about it for all of this time. They've known about it. So if they do something that sinister, that deep, what else do you think they'll do? Nothing is off the table. Nothing. Like Chuck Schumer said, nothing is off the table. They'll do whatever it is they take to stay in power because they're drunk on power. They're drunk on it.
Scalps, and you're going to think these guys are going to get cuffed and hauled in. Is this going to happen, or are we just getting our hopes up here?
Well, look, we're already talking about retroactive here. I mean, this is a couple years old. I think for the American people, we have some truth here in the sense that a controlled apparatus, essentially, of the security state has now been taken out of their hands. And so we're getting some transparency. But the accountability part of it, it can't just be House oversight hearings and people getting upset and these people being dragged in front of the House. More than that, there has to be real teeth to accountability. And I think that means First Amendment violation cases, real power here, not just kabuki theater in Washington.
Yeah, you know what? I've been saying that pretty much for the last 3 days. And exactly how I've been saying it, I said, I'm tired of people complaining, go to work, eat, sleep, then they repeat. Complain, go to work, eat, sleep, complain. Go to work, eat, sleep, complain. Go to work, eat, sleep, complain. It's that vicious cycle. We've been all doing it. It's just over and over, and nothing ever happens. It's just, let me give you an example. Now, you know, I like going to the different events. You know, they just had the Amp Fest, and I would have loved to have gone. But let me ask you a legitimate question. What comes out of it? We hear the people, they go on stage, they tell us everything that we want to hear, and we like hearing it, and we want to support it, and we want what they're saying to happen. Especially like with Carrie Lake, what they did to her. Oh, my goodness. It is remarkable that this country, the greatest country on the earth, is that, and this is happening, right? But and we like her. But the problem that I have is that they have the event. There's no committees created. There's no organizations created. No people getting together saying that we need to create organizations in every single state to mobilize people in the states to work peacefully, right? Mobilize to make actual change in the country. None of that ever happens. It's like they get together, people spend their money, and then they complain about it, hear people talk about it, then they go home. Nothing ever comes of it. It's the same thing here. These people commit these criminal activities just like they did Kennedy, right? Tucker Carlson exploded. He's exposing it all. And nothing ever happens because these people are so deep in their corruption. They're so deep in controlling everything. It just happens constantly. I
feel like it's not going to happen. It's the same thing happened with Durham, right?
Yeah, and to your point about Durham, I mean, how remarkable is this? We've had more revelations about our intelligence apparatus violating the First Amendment here, hand in glove with Silicon Valley, than we had from the John Durham Special Counsel. What did John Durham Special Counsel do? He wouldn't even touch the security apparatus. They were just willfully blind during it, as he presented.
Yeah, we're always chasing the last conspiracy, and then the left's marching on with the new conspiracy. And by the time we get to the new one, it's already been cooked. Like this, y'all know what the Amnesty bill, right? Amnesty bill. The Amnesty bill. Y'all know what that is, right? That is Mitch McConnell giving the keys to the kingdom to the Democrats. Even though the Republicans will have the gavel in the House, you know what it's going to do?
they're going to do this, and Mitch McConnell's all about it. This is going to prevent the Republicans from doing any kind of investigations. It's going to prevent the Republicans to look to see how the First Amendment was violated. Y'all not hearing me. This is exactly the reason why they're doing it. And Mitch McConnell is right there with them. This is going to prevent them to say, wait a minute, the First Amendment was violated, or even looking into all the investigations that the Republicans said that they're going to open up when they come January. Mitch McConnell and the Democrats are getting ready to prevent it from happening. And they're saying it won't be able to happen until 10 months later. And about the time we get to 10 months later, guess what? The Democrats would have caused something else to happen. The country will be in a different position. And they'll say, why are you going to go back? They'll say the Republicans want to take us back instead of moving the country forward. That's exactly what they're going to say. You know that I'm right. They're going to say the Republicans don't want the country to prosper. They're going to say this right now because Mitch McConnell is giving the keys to the kingdom to the Democrats to prevent the Republicans from doing their jobs. Y'all not hearing me. I said Mitch McConnell was a snake since 2020. I've been saying he's a snake. I knew he was a snake before 2020. Mitch McConnell is a straight up snake. And they put this snake back into office. He's the majority leader in the Senate, or the minority leader in the Senate. He could have been the majority leader in the Senate had he done the right thing, but he didn't do the right thing. He undermined what people were trying to win. Mitch McConnell did that, and now he's getting ready to prevent the Republicans from doing any investigations come January. Did y'all know this? Did y'all know this? Someone probably going, Will, you're wrong. You're wrong. I like Mitch McConnell. Ooh, wait. Then you haven't been paying attention. You can like Mitch McConnell all you want, but he is undermining our country along with the Democrats. Why does Mitch McConnell even call himself a Republican? He has an R next to his name and it means rhino, but why does he, just change it to a D. That's what he should do. Change it to a D. Christian Sinema changed her to independent. Mitch McConnell should go ahead and change his to a D. And still caucus with the Republicans, because you got stupid Republicans right now that's, backing Mitch McConnell. I don't understand it. I don't get it. They're literally tearing our country down. They're literally killing our country. Okay, so now we're at the part where I start to talk about a little things I can't talk about on the socialist media platforms. So if y'all want to join me, go to it right there, rumble.com/C/Will Johnson. You go there, and if you're on YouTube, I put it in the description. You go there, and you'll be able to see some of the information that I can't share anywhere else. Okay, and who was this? There was Dolly Shortcake. Thank you so much for that super chat. Thank you so much for that super chat. I really do appreciate it. Okay. So if you want to hear some of this other hot topic stuff, please join me over on my Rumble channel. And or if you want a shorter link, you can go to the one at the bottom there, the www.uaf.media, and just click on Rumble, and it'll take you directly to the live feed. You go to there, and you have to click on Rumble once you go to www.uaf.media. And it has all my other platforms that I'm on at that location. So it helps you out. Okay. So other than that, for those of you that are already connected with Rumble and all of you that are already on Rumble, I'm getting ready to share some stuff with you. But everybody else that's on Facebook and YouTube, thank you so much for being here tonight. Thank you so much for sharing it. I see people have shared it on Facebook. So I'm going to ask you if you would hit the share button before you leave. Thank you so much, everybody. I will see you on Rumble. All right, I'm going over to Rumble.